All right, good morning, everybody, and happy election day. Good luck to everyone here this morning, this afternoon. Hopefully, you go out and fulfill your obligation to vote. And yeah, have yourself a good day based off of that. As a reminder, right? Regardless of who wins, Kamala, Trump, Kim Jong-un, whoever it might be, the deep state, I don't know, whatever conspiracy theory you want to go after, world isn't going to end, market isn't going to end, and we're going to get plenty of opportunities, right, to continue to trade and to be able to execute our ideas. And absolutely, right, still have lots of upside here. In the short term, today, probably expecting another challenging, choppy session, right? Yesterday, pretty much as doji as things could get. And I would expect more of the same here today, right? Peak uncertainty here this morning with, obviously the election kind of creeping up, right? We've got FOMC on Thursday, which feels insane to me. And, markets tend to not like uncertainty, right? So maybe the more likely scenario in that backdrop is a sell-off. We'll see if that ends up actually occurring or happening here this morning, but it certainly seems like that could be maybe the path of easier resistance. I don't want to say least resistance here this morning. I'm not sure if that's really going to exist anywhere across the board. So priority number one, right, this morning, preserve that mental capital. So in choppy price action, in whipsaw price action, the reason why it's so frustrating, especially if you get caught over trading, is because when you're wrong, your like impulse is to want to go short when you were long, right, and long when you were short. But neither longs or shorts are moving anywhere of significance, and so you end up just losing money in both directions, and you kind of feel like, honestly, steaming hot garbage, while you basically just get chopped about taking L's across the board. And so today, it's really all about making sure that I don't finish the day disappointed in my trading process, right? If I focus on the variables I can't control, I think about my risk management, I work backwards to find my entry price, I take trades only based off of risk reward ratios. If I do X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call it, right, that basically helps me avoid my most obvious errors, then I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to make money long term. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but over the course of a week, a month, a year, right, a quarter, a decade, right, I will be successful. So I'm not playing for a day-to-day result. We talk about this all the time, right? I'm not judging myself based on yesterday's P&L, based on today's P&L, based on tomorrow's P&L. That is a trap. All that does is it hides from me the errors that I actually need to fix and focus if I want to be successful. And the reality, right, with every single one of you here inside this room is that you aren't missing the technical skills to be able to be profitable traders. You're missing the self-belief, right? You're missing the mental skills. You're missing the ability to control yourself from going on tilt. And so your emphasis, right, the way that you want to judge wins and losses aren't based on your P&L. It's based on how well did I remain in control here today, right? How well did I follow my plan? How well did I remain within sort of my body, right? I didn't get that out-of-body trading experience where I know what I'm doing is bad, but I'm willing to do it anyway. And the more and more that I can obsess over maintaining that element of control, then the easier it is for me to follow my system. And when I can follow my system objectively, right, without allowing those outside influences to trick me into making dramatic changes based on feelings, not based on facts, then I'll be very profitable long term, right? We've got plenty of evidence to suggest that here this year. We've got plenty of evidence of surviving drawdown, right? Bouncing back from losses, of making new all-time highs in our portfolio. Got so much evidence of that. And we forget essentially how powerful that technique is when we make our losing personal, right? When we make each loss sting more than we need to, when we make each loss feel like it's going to be the death of hope, when we judge ourselves based on our P&L, and all of a sudden, okay, I've had $1,000 loss here on the day, and now it feels like I'm never going to be able to be a full-time trader because I'm so much further away from my goal. Well, that then becomes a self-imposed limiting belief, right? That then becomes a reason to try to rush the process and force things and to behave in a way that just is not going to be consistently profitable. So we talk about this all the time, right? But focus on the variables you can control. And maybe what we need to add to that, right, is hold yourself accountable to your objectives. I've said this before, maybe not recently, but probably the OGs would remember this. But following your trading plan is a form of self-love, right? Following your trading rules, taking care of your mental capital is a form of self-love. So reminding ourselves that, hey, we deserve this success, right? We deserve all the positive things that are going to happen to us. We deserve all these things. I am good enough. You are good enough. We are good enough, right? Those are the things that we need to remember and focus on and truly believe if we're going to put ourselves in situations where we are going to survive long term. But if we live and die with each P&L result, all we are going to feel is if that each loss, right, makes us not good enough. That each loss tells us that we're idiots. That each win tells us that we're geniuses. That each win tells us that our crap don't stink, right? And the less and less we can put any stock into those impulsive feelings and those intrusive thoughts, the easier it is for us to be profitable traders. So the challenge I would put to everyone here this morning is get off of that P&L roller coaster, right? Stop judging yourself based on the balance of your P&L. It's not the reality. That is not who you are as an individual. And the more and more you obsess about that number, the more and more you're going to skip steps to get there. And when you start to skip steps, all you do is elongate your learning curve, and you put yourself in situations where it is inevitable that you will lose and lose everything, right? You'll blow up all your accounts. You'll blow your account. You'll lose access to all your prop firm trading accounts. And it's all because you've been unwilling to choose what your gratification is. So successful trading starts with a level of self-acceptance and a commitment that you aren't going to judge yourself on the quality of your P&L, at least not on a day-to-day basis. You're going to judge yourself on the quality of your decisions on a day-to-day basis. And the more and more we focus on making good decisions, the more and more our P&L just takes care of itself, right? I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million times again. My win rate on the year is like 65%. So that means I'm going to spend a lot of time losing, right? I'm going to have a lot of red days. I'm going to have a lot of red trades. I'm going to have a lot of opportunities where I can make myself feel like an idiot. And none of those are the reality. But in the moment, if I give them power over me, then it makes me feel as if it's the death of hope, right? And then I get desperate, then try to rush things and force things. So time to get off that roller coaster here, team. Focus on creating the future that you want, having the good reaction, accepting that things will sting, and don't make it personal. So with that being said, happy Election Tuesday. Let's have ourselves a fantastic trading day, and let's start mapping things out here and figure out what we want to do here this morning. So good morning, Stephen, Cordell, Raim, Jeff, JK, Brian, Ruben, Samuel, Jeremy, John, Don, Antonin, Craig, Brian, Howell, Tanja, Timmy, Ben, and Sook. Hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Let's get after it. So first things first, what's the count here on ES? Good morning, Nate. Yeah, and it's like pure doji. So very much indecisive price action here. So we're looking for basically a breakout in either direction. To the downside, we're looking for a move down towards 57.20. We'll go 5,700 as that fake out here. I don't think I need to change anything. Yeah, looks pretty much spot on. Oh, economic calendar here this morning. Trade deficit ISM at 10. Check Forex Factory. Bond auction at 1. And yeah, the election here today should be a very interesting session. All right. NQ, how do we feel? Another little trend line rejection there yesterday. Yeah, 2 out of 3 to the downside without volume, spot on, Jack. So we're still looking right at this point for a bounce off of 20,000 and a breakout up and over. I mean, I don't think I need to change too much there. And then again, right, a trend line rejection and then break down through 20,000 certainly sets us up. Yesterday was essentially just a day of consolidation across the board. So no real plan change here, right, based on how we traded yesterday, which obviously set me up for a slightly longer rant than usual. All right, CL, what's the count here? Hey, good morning, Kenneth. Yeah, 2 out of 3 here without volume, right? Spot on. Again, it's kind of like that trend line breakout, right? But we haven't really confirmed the enthusiasm of that breakout here yet this morning until we get that very impressive volume oomph. At this point, 72.50 is going to be the starting point here for target, and then we've got space up towards like 76. Again, I would be surprised if we get that all in one go here today. But let's see. And then to the downside here, right, a high vol rejection off of like 72.50. Could break us back down towards sort of that range, and then it'd be like 71, 70.50, yada, yada, yada. Main thing here, right? Want to see bigger volume than what we saw there yesterday. Kind of grinding price action. I'd rather not. So let's make sure that we get a good enthusiasm level here before we do anything crazy. All right. Apple, green candle, decreasing volume, baby gap down. So 1 out of 3 here. Cool. Tesla, red candle, attempted to fill that gap. Did a little bit of a move, but then couldn't do much. Increasing volume doji, so high volume indecision, generally the worst decision. Hey, good morning, SG. So I'm not going to say still bullish NA. And it needs to get into that gap. We'll call that 239 now. Cool. Microsoft, red candle, decreasing volume gap up. So again, week 1 out of 3 here. And we're still looking for that breakout over 416. So get into that gap here to the upside. And then to the downside here under 405.50. Hey, good morning, Mike. All right, Amazon, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So again, right, 1 out of 3. Did a gap fill yesterday. You do have some flexibility here. Breakout above 197.50. Excuse me. So 197.50, right? And then a breakdown here under like 194. All right, AMD, red candle, lower low, lower high. Probably the strongest red candle we've seen here on probably the most pathetic volume profile. So again, 1 out of 3 here to the downside. 140 bounce could make sense. And then to the downside here, right, a breakdown under 139.80. All right, NVIDIA, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. Lot of 1 for 3s here. And you're looking for that pop over 139. And then alternatively, right, a rejection here under 136. Has space towards 132. Okay, Meta, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up, lower low, lower high, a little bit of a trend line breakdown there. Not on great volume, right? So it's kind of like the opposite of where is it? I don't know anymore at this point. Oh, kind of opposite of CL, right? So weak trend line breakout to the upside, not exactly enthusiastic. Now on Meta, right? Weak trend line breakdown here to the downside, not exactly enthusiastic either. So you'd like to see a breakout over 575. And to the downside here, right? A breakdown under 558. With volume. All right. Netflix continues to consolidate here inside bar. And you're looking for a breakout under 748, right? Or still a breakout over 769. Not much changing. All right, Google, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 1 for 3 here to the downside. And you're looking for a breakout over 171. Or, right, a breakdown under yesterday's low of 168. So not too much changing. And then VIX, 21.87, less than I expected, actually. Truth be told, I would have maybe thought this would be in like the 22, 23 range. So we'll see if that volatility increases here significantly this morning. And then we can kind of go from there. Any questions here this morning, team? I know we absolutely blasted through that here today. Which is not really much changing here this morning. What do you mean by current daily, Cordell? So I care about yesterday's volume standard when I'm judging, not this morning's pre-market, right? So yesterday, Monday the 4th, we had decreasing volume relative to Friday. So I don't care about this little Tuesday the 5th straggler here. That doesn't give me any information. So the without volume is yesterday didn't have volume, right? So the three things we're looking for are yesterday's candle shape, right? Or candle color, yesterday's volume profile, increasing or decreasing, and then today's price action. And then we call it weak, right? If the candle shape is weak. So without volume is binary. Either it has volume or it doesn't, right? Either volume is increasing or decreasing. And the weak, right, is because it looks like a neutral bullish candle, not a most bullish. So what that tells us, right, is that we just don't have any momentum in the market or any indication of trending price action. All right, any other questions, team? All right, so I'm going to go make myself a cup of coffee, spend a few minutes here visualizing a successful trading day. And then hopefully, yeah, we can have ourselves a good session out there here today. So be right back, team. And we'll break things down just before market open. Hey, good morning, Jen. Happy election day to you as well. And yeah, team. So today, right, expecting a lot of, like we saw yesterday, relatively choppy price action, relatively challenging conditions, maybe some muted volume as we creep up towards essentially just peak uncertainty, right? Not expecting a tremendous amount of, enthusiasm here today. Making sure that things are just perfect before we do anything here wild. So today might not be a busy day. Tomorrow might not be a busy day. Thursday might not be a busy day. Friday might not be a busy day. Who knows, right? So we're not here trading because we're not going to trade because we feel like we're owed an opportunity here this morning. We're going to wait until things are perfect and they're setting up as if we have no choice but to follow our system. So I'm unwilling to take any compromises here today. I'm unwilling to rush any decisions. I'm unwilling to do anything stupid. And I'm just going to trust my technique versus trusting how I feel about price action here today, right? Talked about this yesterday with that Jim Simons quote. But under no circumstances am I going to override my decisions because I think right now I'm smarter than the system. It's not the reality. So I'm not going to fall for that trap here. I'm not going to fall for what ultimately it would then be like a gambler's fallacy. And I'm just going to stick to what I know. And what I know is solid risk management, thinking about my position sizing, journaling and studying my trades, waiting for my setup triggers to all sync up, getting all the information I need before I chase into a trade. That's what I know, right? So I'm not going to do anything here this morning that compromises basically those bits of evidence that I've collected. And I'm going to make sure that I am setting myself up for success more than I am setting myself up for a short-term P&L win here today, right? Success as a trader isn't a day-by-day result thing. It's a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year, quarter-to-quarter type result. And so we shouldn't be judging ourselves, right, and feeling great about ourselves after one day, and we should never be feeling terrible about ourselves after one day either. So from my perspective, right, today is all about controlling the variables I can't control, being grateful for the opportunity that I have to sit, watch, and trade, but also not feeling like as if I need to rush anything or do anything stupid. And I'm certainly not in a mood to gamble just because it feels like it's going to be more fun, right, than sitting on hands. So although I love trading, trading isn't my main source of entertainment, and I'm not going to treat the market as a reason to feel joy or to feel the thrill of a win. I'm going to treat the market like a job. I'm going to take it seriously. And I'm going to be grateful that I get to do this for a living instead of doing paperwork all day long. But I'm not going to trick myself into doing something that would set me up for failure long term. Does that make sense? Right? Every day is a commitment to remaining in control, not about being the most entertained I possibly can be, right? And it's not about me being the most entertaining I can be on a day-to-day basis. I'm not here to be shouting in your face that I'm the best trader of all time or anything along those lines. I'm not looking for that type of validation. I get what I want out of the market because I control my emotions. Not always perfectly, but I control them more often than not, right? And I trust my ability to compound good decisions over weeks, not days, right? Hey, good morning, Luke. And so that ability, right, to delay that gratification and to play the long-term game is ultimately what gives me that financial reward that I'm looking for. But skipping those steps, right, and chasing the short-term dopamine win, fastest way to blow up, right? So get off that roller coaster, everybody. I'm going to keep stressing that here today. Stop feeling as if you know better. Stop feeling as if you can't lose. Stop behaving as if you won't make any mistakes. Stop focusing on trying to win big. Instead, focus on losing small, right? When you emphasize or you focus losing small first, winning big happens naturally because it's easy to make new all-time highs. But when we skip steps, when we ignore protocols, when we ignore risk management parameters, right? When we chase trades outside of our risk-reward zones, don't stand a chance, right? Because all of a sudden, we're going from being the house with an edge to being a gambler that needs to get lucky to get paid out. And I've yet to meet a trader who got lucky with one big win, kept it, and walked away. I've never seen that. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's happened before, but I've not seen that happen in my own personal experiences. So we're not trying to get lucky here and win. We're trying to remove luck from the equation and just play the numbers game for what it is. Is that understood? Like, once you admit that you need to get lucky to be profitable, it's a nice way of admitting that you're wrong, right? It's a subconscious way of admitting that you're wrong. So far, so chill here, right? Not a ton of reasons to be aggressive yet. Might have to wait for 10 a.m. data to drop this morning. And again, expecting probably a relatively choppy session in general today. As we just kind of wait for the election to sort itself out, I might take a couple days, right? So ES, right, give me increasing volume. NQ, not so much. So ES here could be potentially interesting. Again, not in a rush to make a decision here, right? Just slowly starting to watch this. Make sure it's giving me the exact reaction I want, right? No compromise is allowed. Okay, good little breakout there. Now we'd go aggressive entry technique, right? Because it made a higher high first. So stop loss, low of entry candle. As is, right? Entry would be, or stop loss would be 57.68 on a long. We want to see now a little pullback here. So watching gently. It's a weird way to describe it. All right, so slowly starting to watch here. Slowly starting to watch. Still no, right? Still no. Okay, this might now be setting up more as a rejection, right, than a breakout. Same thing on NQ. So I'd be interested in this reversal scenario here. Okay, so it'd have to be the aggressive again. Stop loss 226 as is. So again, watching closely here, setting everything up. This would be a 2-contract play as is. Let's see if it can find, get stuffed here, right? So we just watched ES give us a little breakout, then fail. Let's make sure that NQ also gets stuffed at our stop loss location before we chase this. Okay, so it's starting to look like it's going to be a 1-contract play here now. Definitely a rejection. It's got to pull back, though. It's got to pull back for me. All right, guys. I am in short 206.75. A little bit prematurely, maybe. So a little bit early on my entry for sure. Come on. Okay, let's see if it can sell off here. Come on. Okay, took the stop. So looks this might be a little bit of a shakeout then breakdown here. Let's see. But yeah, entry felt wrong, or early I should say, maybe not wrong. Early right away. It's generally not a great sign. Feels like this maybe has a chance again here. On the fake out. Stop offs have to be 30. 22.30. Let's see. It's not giving us the breakdown here yet. 12 minutes till data, so maybe just wait it out. 34, new high. Okay, no chance now. It's a little fake out under 200. Not enough volume on that candle on the 5 min. On the 3 min, maybe we have a chance here. Interesting. See if it's got the legs. So it has to go immediate breakout here. It's good volume, right? It's really good volume. Have to be something like this, right? Yeah, it needs to break out over high of day before this is interesting. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so stop loss 2246, right? Starting to set up this order. Maybe, just maybe, this could be 2 contracts. Still no, still no, still no. It's the time, 9:53. We've got 7 minutes till data. It's still plenty of time. It's a decent bounce. Much better. Sanity check here. Okay, still watching, right? Still watching. It's not a bad close, you know. Still gonna do it, 246. This would be a 1 contract. Okay, still not yet, right? Okay, start watching here. Too fast of a pullback, right? Went from 71 to 67 too easily. Okay, starting to watch again. All right, guys, I am in. Average price 268.50. And it's one contract, and it's much better this time. So green on the day here already with this position. So now let's see if this thing can break out above that trend line resistance, right? And really start to push us higher. Plus 600, so let's see if it's got some legs. Okay, 4 minutes here till data. Good volume. Want to see it hold through 300 though. You don't chase it if you missed it. It's not that much time available for us on this trade. And it doesn't feel the greatest reaction there. And maybe just a little bit stuffed at that trend line, right? Maybe a little bit. $9.57. Again, don't chase an entry here, team. Do not chase an entry here. Right? It's not enough time, right? So I'm going to be closing this trade within the next minute anyway, just so I don't have any exposure for 10 a.m. data. So that's why it's not worth chasing, right? Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more. All right, closed it there at that 295 touch. Got to fill at 287.50. Ooh. All right. Classic. Yeah, that's fine, right? That's an algo reaction, right? So we have 10 a.m. data here, ISM services. So the reaction to data is random. I don't know if it's going to run or if it's going to dump. And so I won't basically take the gamble, right, to hope I get lucky on that reaction. So if it's strong, it'll set back up and I can take another opportunity at it. But I'm not going to set myself up to get to chase, right? Nice work, Jeremy. It's nice and green on the day then. Congratulations. I'm up like $100. So possibly have a setup here towards 350. So now, ideally, right, we want to see that previous trend line act as support. So far, pretty good bounce there. $308. So 287.50 would have to be the stop loss here, right? And you need an entry under 302. So 10-point pullback. That's relatively aggressive still, all things considered. So be patient, right? Around that 300 area, you're going to get some kind of wacky behavior. So, you know, this feels like it could just be a spot where it wants to overreaction flush. Just be a little bit patient. Right? So, okay, we've read that pretty well here so far. Maybe this, again, ends up being that rejection thesis here. Fail, move above 300 at the trend line. ORB fake out at the trend line, then break down towards, right? So we definitely have that setup coming together here. I'm always a little bit skeptical once I see new lower lows on the entry candle, or what would be the entry candle. It's not a great sign of bullish momentum, but we're back up above 300. So that kind of like trickery, if we want to call it that, right? It's reasonable. I'm going to wait to see how this candle closes. And price action possibly a little bit extended as well. Best risk reward would be for this rejection thesis here now. 100%. See if it'll do it. Okay, so we're going to start watching here for potential downside move if we can get increasing volume and this can close as a red candle. So we've got a couple ifs here. Next 20 odd seconds. Needs to close under 290 by the looks of it, right? To be red. Be very close. And if it doesn't happen on the 5, then I pass on that burden here to the 10-min, right? Or the 3-min or some other time frame. So it didn't happen. Did ES do it? No. ES looks more like a breakout setup. Second biggest volume bar of the day. Held above all-time highs. Targeting 5,800, 10 points away. I mean, that's a pretty tempting combo of information. So again, we have to look something like this. Right now, right, we haven't made a higher high above our confirmation candle, right? This is our confirmation candle. So we're still looking for the pullback technique, not the aggressive technique here. Stop loss, 57.84.25. Entry under 88. So you're looking at 2 units there, right, at that sizing. So 2 contracts, risking about $375. So watching here closely and carefully. $84.25 stop loss. Still no entry for me here yet. All right, starting to watch here. Good bounce. All right, guys, I am in 57.87.25 to 2 contracts. So there's that retest. Good reaction here so far. Very good reaction, I would say. Well, let's see if this thing can get up and over through that 50 handle and turn into a nice day. So far, so good. Sorry, above that 90 handle. Why did I say 50? Brains in the gutter. Great entry, Mike. Great entry. Again, pretty conservative with my position sizing here, right? No need to be hyper aggressive. If I'm correct, I can always build up a position, right? Instead of having to panic close one. I'd like to see some more separation from NQ up and over. That probably feels like it's slowing me down here just a little bit. Okay, inside bar doesn't kill me here. Not at all. Come on. Get up and over that 90 handle, right? We got stuck there previously. Would like to see that breakout through that area. The longer it takes to consolidate, the more and more I think I'm just going to get out. Right? Because the bias for today's price action is probably chop. Right? Maybe chop and drop. So the longer it takes, the worse it feels, I would say. Yeah. I closed, guys. I closed that position at 84.25. Oh, sorry. 57.85. So saved myself a tick there. Right, where now this is starting to feel like a rejection, right? Not enough volume on the 3. Just struggled to pull the trigger like an extra 30 seconds earlier, and I'm green there nicely. Instead of down, you know, minus 125. Would have been up a little bit more. Deja vu to yesterday, maybe? Okay. Definitely say my bias is more flipped to short now than long. On what has effectively been here a scratch day so far. 2 small losses, 1 okay win. Down like 60 bucks on the day. See how this closes. Nice work, Jeremy. 550 bucks, man. Congratulations. That's well done. $10.15. 308's too big. 294.50 could be reasonable. Okay, watching here. All right, guys, I am in at 2280 short. One contract here. Come on. Here we go. See if we can break down from here, right? Survived worst case scenario, so let's see it flush. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, come on, come on. It's right on the cusp here. Right on the cusp. Come on. Keeps finding support at 280. Is it enough support? I don't know. See if they can break here. Come on. Hey, good morning, Suresh. So I have been stopped out here, team. I have been stopped out. Maybe. I'm concerned about how long it's taking and how everything has been a fake out in both directions here so far, right? So that feels less appealing. Not enough volume on the 5. Not enough volume on the 3 either. So I don't know if I would call it a reset here to the upside. Kind of just looks like maybe the liquidity is dried up here to a certain extent. And it's just going to chop about. So it reminds me a lot of yesterday this time, where price action stalled and then dropped. I feel like we're at that stall stage right now. Flag to the upside or downside, Nicholas? Yeah, potentially. I could see that argument. And now, again, it feels like we're setting up again for a rejection. I'm not sure where I see your flag here to the upside, to be honest with you, Nicholas. Like you saying this is your flagpole? Something like that. But if that's the case, right, you would need to see a bigger volume breakout through that upper area of resistance. Right, same thing here. When it broke out through, it didn't really break out with any level of enthusiasm. And then time of day also may be implying challenging to get big oomph. It feels later than 10:30 for whatever reason. Again, this feels more like a rejection now than it does a breakout. Problem here today is getting the timing right. Finding a thesis is easy. Finding a thesis and stop loss that will hold seems to be a bit of an enigma. Again, you know, having the right thesis but wrong entry still means you're wrong. Not sure if I saw that NQ rejection incorrectly, but too aggressive on my entry here by the looks of it. Right? Like that's a little bit painful. So now we want to see this thing go bearish engulfing candle, bearish engulfing on volume. And then we're basically defining this as a trend line rejection, right? So let's see. Ideally, it holds under 61. That would be best case Ontario. It's not going to do it. It's close. So now you'd want to go aggressive entry technique. No other one would be acceptable. And I'm going to be conservative, just targeting low of day. I don't want to see it pull back too much. Because you want to keep that risk tight, right? So stop loss, 280, we'll call it. So again, you see it make a lower low here first, lower low here first. And again, the thing I'm trying to put all my energy into is entry timing, right? Who's generally had the right thesis here so far, but kind of just getting chopped up on timing where entries are a little bit early and then getting stopped out before the move happens. So I'd rather be late than early on this if I can get an execution. Don't need to be in a rush. Again, still no entry here, right? Still no entry. Come on. Again, this would only be a one contract play, right? Doing everything in my power to keep the risk tight, right? All right, so 281.75 stop loss now. Okay, so watching here, watching here. All right, I am in 2261. One contract. Again, maybe a little bit early. Don't feel terrible about it. Now that's like the worst reaction post-entry possible. Okay, breakdown here, you lunatic. Still lower lows, lower highs. Come on, come on. Your turn. I love the volatility. I hate the follow through. Just about. Come on. Took the stop. Man, what the frick's going on today? Every shut up. A little fakey. What's the VIX doing this morning? 20.43. I'm surprised by this too. I got one more probably in me here. Different in what context, JK? I mean, it's not... I'm not really sure what different means. Different size and shape, different price. What I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, that's why I need specifics though, right? Because it's either a market data issue, trading a different contract issue, or the volume candles issue. So you need to make sure that you're purchasing live market data, because otherwise you will be 10 minutes behind. With the live stream, there's about a 3-second delay, but that should not be a significant difference in price. So any significant difference in price will be based on not having live market data. Not the video lag. And how different is the price, JK? And are you sure you're on the same contracts? On what time frame? What's the current price you see on ES and NQ? What's the price? What's the price? Are you sure you're live on the stream here on YouTube as well? Dude, just tell me the price, JK. What's the price, man? I'm gonna start ignoring you if you don't tell me the price. Okay. So, not a data issue. So, check your live on YouTube, right? Make sure that when you go on the stream, there should be a little button here that says live. You want to make sure that that red dot is there. I don't know what feels live means. Either is or it isn't. Sent it where? So far, a fairly annoying just paper cut day. Yeah, no worries, man. Look, in general, team, I can't really do too much like tech support intraday because there's so many variables, right? So it can be like a billion different things. Yeah, I'm watching this NQ here. Seems to be consolidating at this level. Sammy, you're spot on. Same with ES, right? Testing that 800. But we need volume to return here. In the last, say, 40 minutes or so, right? It's been kind of a pathetic volume standard on these shorter time frames. So I need to see enthusiasm. And then obviously, right, we're kind of back to that same, like yesterday, where it was building a flag here, same time of day. All right, here's kind of like your flag. Could not break out and then flushed, right? So maybe that's the scenario here. So obviously I want to make sure you guys have all the information you need, right? But I have no control over tech issues like that. So bear with me. It's something I'm not very patient about, so I do apologize. This feels interesting as well as a rejection here on CL. Generally, time of day gives me a bias towards mean reversion. Could I do this? Potentially. 38 would have to be the stop. Where's my bid? 6 contracts. Risking 300 something dollars. Potentially capitulation. It's a 5-min fake out. How many fake outs can it give us, though? Better. That's a good rejection. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Yeah, a little fake out. Market wants to do me mean. A little trend line rejection here again, potentially. So we're just in consolidation mode for now. I'm going to be very cautious. I still think the easier setup is potentially this mean reversion look, but I need to see volume step in and agree with me. That's not enough. It's close, but it's not enough. Tick by tick. All right, here we go. Come on. Give me volume here. 3 minutes to go. We should get increasing outlier on this candle. So let's give it 2.5 minutes here, team. Let's wait. So again, right, back to that rejection thesis here. We'd love to see it break down and hold under this 255 in a best case scenario. Right? Because that's where we've seen price basically just get stuck. So I for sure could have chased an entry. But with just how, call it, bouncy things have been here so far, I don't feel super confident to get paid for chasing, right? Again, we're faking out and then breaking down pretty much everywhere. So I'd like to see consistent stories shape up here if I'm going to trust these narratives. And our like original bearish thesis, right, wasn't wrong, but timing was. So we'd like to see timing sync up and cooperate here with me. And if I don't get on the 5, I should have a chance here on the 10 as well, right? And it'll be the same area that we want to see act as resistance. Or previous area of resistance now act as support for a downside move. So I don't think this is going to close down. 10 points lower here still. 5 seconds to go. It would have to be something like that. And then a retest, right? Your entry of retest of this area of support, right? So we want to see support turn into support to the downside, right? So see this crack aggressively and then a gentle pullback into that area. So 271.50 would be the stop loss for now. And it'd be a 1 contract play. Okay, so now look for a gentle pullback until like 255. If it doesn't give me on this time frame, I can just play this on the 10, right? No big deal. There's that retouch. We just want to see if this now acts as support for a downside move, right? No front running this because we've seen fake outs galore here so far. Better. Again, entry timing is so important on this one. $460. Again, watch it act as support here for a downside thesis. A lack of enthusiasm at that area is not a sign to jump in. So far, no entry. Oh, it's a fight here. So at this point, I'm going to wait for the 10-min. See if the 10-min candle can close under that red line. missed out anything on crude either. So buck 10 to go. Be close. Be really close. Yeah, that's why we want to see it act as a nice area of support. It's pretty decent volume. Close. It'll be really close. Come on. Come on. Didn't do it. Is ES maybe better? Probably not. It is bouncing right off that opening range, Sammy. You're spot on with that. $253. Again, an aggressive flush through that, say, low. Set us up for a stop loss, 264. So, changing my order window here. Okay, let's watch here closely. Okay, good breakdown here. We need a gentle pullback. Be one contract. And the feeling I have here, right, is that generally my first instinct for an entry has been early so far today. So I want to fight back against that feeling, right? So still sitting on hands here. $11.02. Risking $300, $290. Still not the right time to enter. It's almost like a borderline Costanza market here at the moment. If every instinct I have is wrong, the opposite must be correct. Now, that's a very dramatic way of describing an $800 loss, but it's understanding that, hey, this is a market that really wants to fake out its participants right now. And so I'm buying myself as much time to make a decision. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, JK. Does seem like it's struggling a little bit, right? Not a tremendous amount of enthusiasm yet. Not compared to yesterday at the same time. So it's a very similar type setup, but without giving us that same reaction, right? So I'm looking for basically that enthusiasm to show back up before I'm aggressive. Because so far, I would have been red on this trade. Now, 10-point stop loss, it's very tempting. But just getting the right risk-reward ratio is not enough to jump in. If I'm going to get stopped out on $120, okay, it's not the end of the world. But I don't want to take... I don't want to get faked out and see it break down here again, right? That's max frustration. Yeah, good decision here so far. Interesting. Crude, not interesting to the upside here because we still haven't held above high a day. So that's clearly resistance. Okay, stop loss would have to be 270. Right, on NQ. Not enough volume there. Just loving a fake out today. Love. At this point, might be getting, like from an entry technique perspective, basically buy your stop loss, right? Not enough volume. More like a flag. Okay, again, good decision to stay away. Ooh. Yeah, I feel a little bit vindicated here so far. Again, I would love to chase. But not a Bengal here. I'm impressed with the VIX. Very impressed. Tick by tick. Both are like right at psychological levels too. 5,800, nearly 50 or 2,300. I'm risking almost 2 points to make 6. Not bad. $93. Okay. Potentially do something like this. $77, $91. Oh. So what do you reckon? Is market pricing in a Trump win here? Or is this a Kamala win? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Crude's challenging. Because you're targeting 10 cents, right? 10 cents. Eh. So 5 min, maybe a little bit more justifiable. Mm-hmm. 11-14. Still good volatility, all things considered. So I'm happy to go into overtime a little bit. Yeah, totally makes sense. It's approximately, yeah, that Friday high. We're at that first target, 72.50. Anything from the 15 here? It's good volume. Again, we're back to that same problem though on crude. Not sure if the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, 3 cents a risk, pretty tight. Ideally, like a pullback here. That's a big pullback you need, right? Because the majority of the move has happened. It's a bit annoying because I'm, what was that? $1,200 away from passing a 6th account here. I was like $400 away. I started the day off. So I'm both one trade away. But also, don't want to make it 2 trades. 5 cent stop to make, you know, it's not bad to make 19 cents. Probably the most appealing. $47. I'd love to see NQ get up back over 300 again. 297, 296, 292. Okay, this should finish as an inside bar. Again, doesn't kill me. $47 was previous high a day. Decreasing volume inside bar. Okay, there's NQ over 300. 301. 297. I'm now back under 297 again. Did it hold on volume? No. That's a pretty weak, right? That's the lowest volume bar of the day. So is that one side giving up, or is that capitulation? So we're trying to figure out here. There's definitely enough space to play it range to range. Shame. Yeah, this volume is pitiful. Chilly, chilly, chilly. Again, volume getting pulled here as we creep up towards those psych levels. Gives me less and less confidence, right, of this being a breakout scenario. And we don't necessarily have that same problem here on crude. But last two bars have been very weak. So possibly like a volume divergence setup here at resistance. 20 minutes of not moving. So where is it accumulating? For which direction? Giving me many hints. Yeah, not great volume. Increasing, but pathetic. Come on. I think someone forgot to pay the power bill in the market today. Crude no longer holds any appeal. If I'm being objective, right? Trendline breakout, increasing volume, but increasing relative to only the lowest volume bar of the day. That's not a tremendous sign of strength. Yes, maybe a slightly better volume profile here on the 3-min, but not perfect again. Bigger than the range of consolidation, but not by a tremendous amount. It's suspicious. Suspiciously quiet. Crude's a no-go. This feels so much more like a short than a long. But that's purely a feeling, not backed by confirmation here. Yeah, good call on crude. 305, 795. This would have been the trade of the day here. Rejection, bearish engulfing candle, not on volume. So again, feels a little bit low probability. And you'd be targeting the low of that range, right? So that's where we keep getting stuck. Yeah, look at where the volume's gone. $300, $302. $305. Again, I'm looking for volume. We're at the Pennsylvania of price action here right now. It's a battleground. That's what that means. We have the legs to keep going. I don't think it might. I mean, this has a chance to go outlier volume. We'd have to hold above high a day. Dog has came to say hello. Hey, Ricky. His name is Ricky. He's a good boy. Okay, interesting. Get up over 800. Here we go. Finally, right, some volume back. ES did not hold above 800, so this is a NQ setup only. Targeting 400. Okay, let's see how this thing, where it finds support. Oh, there he goes. So stop would have to be 320.25. It's called 320. So it could be two contracts here. We want to see elevator up, stairs down. Okay, that's definitely elevator. downstairs again. Always play this on the 5, right? Again, still no entry here. Oh, we still got some chances potentially for some action. So not quite ready to call it. Definitely an outlier day. But just need to see cooperation here to get a confident entry. Confident entries have been few and far between here so far. Higher high, higher low, indecision. I don't know if any of them are they're all the same, like rules-wise, pretty much. I'd say the easiest ones to get payouts from in the future space are Top Step and My Funded Futures. They have the best trailing drawdown rules, which I think is the biggest differentiator between how easy they are to manage and not. Personally would be my recommendation. I've got 5 Top Step accounts, and I'm working on a 6th one with My Funded Futures. So really close to passing that one, but can't quite get above the threshold. And ES, maybe don't like that it got stuck just under 5,800, right? Went above and then couldn't sustain. So I'm watching that as much as I'm watching NQ here, because I need that to cooperate if I'm going to get good oomph. Now, 7 points of risk here is tempting. Yeah, it'd still be the same spot. This would be a 5-min for now. Could also do that. Stop loss 296.25, right, on what would be the pullback entry technique. Maybe that's preferred. It's 294. Again, so far all I've done is avoid getting stopped out here. Pretty thin volume. 319.75 would give me, have to be 319 on the dot as an entry or lower on this for a 294.50 stop. So back in my institutional days, this would be a trading day where you're not allowed to take lunch. They'd order in something for us. Okay, so let's watch price action here. $3.16. I mean, we traded everything. So, I mean, they had so much money under management that we would. Primarily, though, we didn't trade futures directionally. We use that to hedge exposure more than anything else. $3.12. I want to see how that 300 acts now before we do anything. But Cordell, we had like maybe 23,000 names in our tradable universe, and it was a global exposure fund. So we traded all the currencies, the US, Mexico, South Africa, Brazil, Korea, Hong Kong, right? Like we traded all those tickers. I had the quote unquote privilege of working the US desk. Not necessarily because I was more skilled, but when I was in the UK, you know, I kind of sound like American, right? Even though I'm Canadian. And I could talk like sports and stuff like that with the brokers that were US based. So they threw me on the US based desk for that reason. And I'd be in the office from like 11 o'clock in the morning till about 9:30, 10 most days. And it'd be like 3 hours of testing systems and making sure everything is working, checking data connections, all that kind of stuff. Placing practice tests, right? One lot with Apple, see if it executes at the price you expect before you get the day started type thing. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And then once market closed, you had to do like end of day reports and things along those lines. To be clear, it wasn't my hedge fund. It was Peter's. I was just a lowly employee. Okay, so let's watch this reaction around 300. We saw a big breakout enthusiasm through there. We'd expect it to be defended here with some gusto. If it's not, then again, back to mean reversion thesis. can't help but think that 300 will crack because 800 cracked on ES. So again, on these later setups here so far, we've at least adapted to what the market was giving us. We've not gotten faked out chasing here, which is promising. It's 295 on ES. That looks like a rejection on the 15. So I want to see bears fail before I jump in. $796, 58 on crude. $313. It's a decent bounce. Again, at 294.50, I'd be risking $400 here approximately. Which is fine, right? It's within my max loss number. Okay, better reaction. 97.50. Really feel like the missing ingredient is ES being over 800. Really feels like that's potentially the case here. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, just to go back to your question, Cordell, we were mostly a long-short equity fund. And we would use other products, right, for hedging purposes, but primarily a long-short equity fund. Okay, 98.50. $99.50. Need this to be over 800. Good reaction. Back over 800 again. 2 minutes to go. 1 minute to go. And we're still inside this 1130 candle as our confirmation. Right, we've done nothing yet to invalidate that. Haven't made a higher high. Haven't made a lower low. We're very much dealing with that still as our basically sticky point here. Eight. $65. Yeah, I haven't missed anything on NQ. If we're gonna look from like a drawings perspective, I mean, this is your trend line here short term, right? Post breakout through the flag. Less obvious of a trend line support there on ES. Can't quit you, NQ. I can't quit you. $97. And at this point now, I've spent more time working for myself than I ever did working at a fund. Still talk to a few of my buddies, but they will not tell me a word of what they're doing these days. This is I miss. I miss the sense of the action there. That was really fun. Kind of bouncing off that trend line. But still, ES, no separation away. I hear that, Cordell. I hear that, man. There's times where it's definitely a little bit lonely. But I couldn't imagine working for someone. I'd get fired so fast. What do you mean I gotta do something I don't want to do? Frick's wrong with you? We're back in business here. Okay, ES back up above 5,800. Again, this feels better now, right? 28.25 with the stop loss of 305.50. Okay, this have to be the aggressive technique now. $801 on ES, 801.25. So stop loss 335. Again, I'm just playing with my order window. I'm not submitting anything here yet. Reasonably, this could be 2 contracts. 801.50. Got stuffed. $338. $801.25 again. We got stuffed at 801.50 last time. Just made a new high through that. All right. 9 points of risk. Okay, that's good elevator. Yes, back at 800. Again, not rushing to make this decision here yet, right? Trying to avoid the fake out like the vaccine. Okay, 801 on ES. So let's see if we can get some separation here. It's increasing volume, but not a tremendous amount of range. 1159. See if ES can hold above 800 here. get that 12 o'clock lift off. Held. And now it's under. I can't help but think this is now a short. We've given Bulls so many chances here, right, to want to defend this with some conviction, and they just don't want to do it. So I feel like at some point this rug's got to get pulled here a little bit. It's a tough one. So what's going to get rugged first, right? The market or my mental capital? At this point, watching this paint dry is not exactly conducive to profitable trading decisions. But fading a slow market just because it's boring is also generally a bad thing to do. Mixed bag. Yes, $7.99. I don't know. This says a lot about me, probably, but all I can think about is someone needs to make from Downfall. You guys know that movie, Downfall? It's about like Hitler's last days in his bunker. And there's that like memeable clip where there's like he's yelling at all of his generals. I feel like we need a version of that for price action here. It might be official. I'm sick in the head. And ES 5850. This just feels like such a short. I'm like the electoral district here today. I don't want to call it early. It's one of those days where I feel like there's still money to be made here. Maybe at this point, maybe not by me. I can't shake the feeling that if it separates away from this 800, it's gonna be a violent move. This might be like the OG DTR days where we streamed from 9 to 4. $35, $30, $800, $801. $802 now on ES. 36 on NQ. 35. 37. I think this chop's not worth it anymore. Can't help but believe in this volatility. And she goes. 2. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything else here, team. I've been sitting trying to talk myself into a setup and nothing wants to cooperate for what feels like the last hour and a half here now. So, I don't know if I see any. All I want is the reversal. But I can't seem to get it to cooperate just the way that I want it to be structured. And so I'm struggling to feel maybe the conviction I would need to feel here. Like my body is telling me short at 23.40. But I'm not getting any evidence to suggest that that's the right move. From like a confirmation standard again, right? It's pathetic volume here at these areas. So I think I'm going to have to walk away at this point and just not do anything stupid. Save some mental capital for the CNN coverage today. So, any questions here, team? Any questions? Any questions, team? Any questions? What I might end up doing here, might come back for Power Hour today. So I imagine that will have some pretty crazy. There's the breakout. Ooh. Ooh, boy. Maybe I do have to trade this. Finally giving me that breakout. Outlier volume. 805 on ES. Oh, I might have to. I negged it. Okay. Anyone still here with me? Alright, so like to see if we can make a higher high here aggressively, right? ES, not as tempting because our target's 810. So we just have more space on NQ. That's why it's the focus. Pullback entry like this wouldn't necessarily be terrible because support would be the previous high a day. But I want to go tight sizing here. 58.50 would be the stop loss as is. Okay, we have to be lower now. Pull back into 45, not despicable either. Maybe a strange adjective to describe it there. 356 would be the stop. Hasn't made a higher high above 66.50 yet, so we need to see that right before we can be confident in our entry or our stop loss holding. If it continues to pull back, then a 43.75 entry would be the target with a stop loss at 327. But I want to see, I'd prefer the aggressive technique here, right? The move's going to happen. It's got to happen with aggression and not just give me hope, because we've seen things take so long. It's 12:17. So again, right? Like, I don't want to be too needy here. All right, so 54.25. I could potentially go 3 units here. Okay, so now it's got to pull back into 64.50 or lower. Okay, this would be 2 units. Still not yet. Still not yet. I just scared my poor dog off. Okay. Okay. Good elevator. Now we want to see a tick by tick pullback. So again, still same stop loss, 354.25. We want to see a pullback into 64.50 or lower slowly, right? A gentle, giant pullback. Like, we want it to be like a whisper lower. Come on, come on. I believe in you. And if it doesn't give me the look here, we got the 5-minute candle closing in a second. So again, could reset. Might have just missed it there on that pullback. Mean machine. All right, still in play. Too aggressive so far. That went from 71 to 59, right, in like 5 seconds. Okay, so now it would be the pullback technique. Same stop loss location. All right, guys, I am in 63.50, 2 contracts. It's got to move in my direction here right away. Otherwise, I have no interest in holding on to this and bag holding this. Come on, come on, come on. Down $100 here. Come on. $222. Let's go. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. Looking good. Keep going. Felt less optimistic. 806 on the old ES. Come on. This is really close. Want to get it back over 71, right? That's what we want to see here. And then break out, right? Like pop. Come on, come on, come on. You can do this. Come on, you can do this. Get over 70 here. And start flying. Come on. Hit that 69 a couple times. Let's get over it. $220. Come on, come on, come on. Go, go. Hate that. Come on. Frick, this is close. Come on. Run with it here. Run with it, NQ. My finger's on the trigger here. I am worried about a violent reversal. Keep surviving, but not thriving. So again, getting sticky post-entry. 361. Ah, you dummy. Is this finally the rejection? Failed breakout. I think that has to be it for the day, team. At least until Power Hour. Might have an opportunity or two then at that point. But we waited for the volume to return. We had everything set up. It just got stuck. And just would not give me that oomph, right? So at this point, I gotta stop being stubborn here. Even though it's gonna be back to entry price here in a second, which is cruel. But this is a... Yeah, I've got no interest in doing anything else here. mean. Right back to entry price after stopping out. Yeah, I can't touch this anymore, team. So final call for questions here. Final call for questions. I'm going to walk away down $1,100. All right. So, realistically here, right? Gonna come back, probably jump on the Discord, right? Around power hour. If we continue to have decent volatility, if it's bumping and all this kind of stuff, I'll jump on voice on Discord and we'll walk through things. If there's a lot of interest, maybe we can get the stream kicked up and going again here. But at this point, it's time for a little step away from the screen, do some exercise, and then come back, refresh, recharge. Still within very much one trade here. But just not seeing any reasons to trust price action pretty much, right? So, had the right thesis multiple times here, and I just get faked out before it goes. So, it's not worth my sanity. Like even this on this 350 breakdown, yeah, it feels like a great look. Bearish engulfing candle, bearish engulfing on volume. Like I can talk myself into this, which is generally not a good sign, right? So I'll eat it on the chin here for now. Busy day. Okay. So I gave back most of Fridays, unfortunately. Well, just kind of an expected greater day of volatility here, right? So, with the election on the bracket, we continue to see pretty good volatility past that 11 o'clock time frame. And we're kind of just hanging out right at like that psychological level where you could have either expected a rejection set up here to the downside, right? Or a breakout set up here to the upside. So we just had reasons to think that price action was still going to continue moving here today. Which it did, it just faked us out before it made the move. So yeah, just a lot of volatility all day here, right? Which is why maybe I expected it to go. Look at that trend line holding like really nicely. Oh, whoops. But at this point, right, things are just gross and choppy and not behaving how one would expect. So I don't see the value in this. The trade of the day probably would have been just on an aggressive entry breakout through the opening range. That seems to be, for lack of a better term, the best trade here these days. That initial breakout, just high vol at the open, breakout through. So I'm going to look at that a little bit here as I'm eating lunch. But yeah, it seems like it's given us one or two chances to enter, and that's about it. Everything else wants to pull back before it runs. So it's either Change slightly on the entry timing, right? So play the breakout through the opening range, the first one, or basically start buying our stop losses here at this point. Do that, right? We're in pretty good shape. So just a little bit frustrating. Happy with, the sizing I had. Every trade, I didn't have a single $500 loss. And so that made it easy to have, reasonable risk right here today and fire more shots. But for whatever reason, just could not find that winning side for when I needed that follow through. So, okay, is what it is. Not going to lose sleep over it. But a little bit frustrating just with how choppy it was. To be expected. All right, team. So I'm going to go walk the dog here. He's giving me the eyes and do some exercise. Like I said, we'll potentially look to jump in at power hours. This will be a bit of an outlier day tomorrow as well, potentially. So we'll see if something sets up or something comes together. But really no rush to do anything here crazy. So potentially talk to you guys all in a couple hours. And we'll see if the market wants to give us some nice oomph here as we get that big positioning trade here into end of day. So we'll be back at it in a couple hours, and we'll talk then.